Okay, guys, we're back for part two. And, part one, we pretty much talked about the depth charts, picking your playbooks, and, formations and things like that you're going to want to run. Now, as far as selecting your formations goes, sometimes there are better formations than others, just because of the nature of the game, just for you. And sometimes there are formations that are just generally just superior to other formations. That doesn't mean you can't use those other formations, and actually being unique and different than everyone else is likely going to benefit you largely, especially on the defensive side of the ball, because it's one of those things where if everybody's running the same formation defensively and kind of the same plays, um, you've seen it, you've played against it, you know what they're going to do, you know the adjustments, and you just get used to beating that type of defense. And then if you're the person that comes along with the different defense and they haven't played against that yet, there's a really good chance that you can catch them off guard and actually have a very successful defensive game. So that's one thing, man. Definitely try to be as unique as possible with your defenses, with your setups and adjustments and those types of things. Um, as far as one formation being superior to the others, there's just certain formations in the game that are a little bit inferior to the rest of them. Now, when I say that, take it with a grain of salt, because I mean, again, you can get those formations to work, but there are formations where like it's just very difficult to get pressure out of. These formations here are pretty much all good ones, but there are some in the game that it's just extremely difficult to get the pressure with simple setups out of them. Like you may have to get five adjustments just to be able to get pressure, and generally you don't want to make that just to get pressure. Like that's too many adjustments to just get pressure. So for instance, if you had to move this dude out here and you had to move this dude out here, you had to spy both these guys, and then you had to hook this guy and purple this guy just for the blitz to get in. Like that's just way too much. Just way too much to be your consistent blitz. So one thing when you're setting up a blitz, man, um, the blitz part of it, you want to be able to set up pretty quickly. So if you can just kind of base the line, or if you just want to, spread the line, shift them, maybe re-blitz a couple guys, maybe, something like that. That would be a decent blitz as far as just setting up the blitz. Now I'm rushing 6 against 5, but the important thing here is just what I'm talking about, not what I'm showing on screen necessarily. But the whole idea here is you don't want to take forever and 2 days to be able to set something up. I mean, if you can have the greatest blitz in the world, but if it takes 6 seconds, 7 seconds just to set up, or if it takes 10 seconds to set up, you're going to be, in a lot of troubles. Because people are going to run hurry up on you. They're going to hurry up to the line, quick hike you. You just to set up the blitz, 10 seconds is a long time. Now, if that perfect blitz with 10 seconds includes the blitz and the coverage, then that's a different story. But if it's just the blitz you're setting up and it takes 10 seconds to do it, like, ugh. And even with the 10 seconds, if it takes the blitz and it still has good coverage, 10 seconds is too long. You want to try to do everything in 7 seconds or under, because that's how long it takes to get to the line and hike the ball. Now, if somebody's hurry up offense, you want to have some other setups that are even faster than that, what I like to call the 2 or 3 steps. Simple setups where all it is basically, something like a baseline, a shift, and maybe a crash. Something super simple like that, where you're still going to get pressure. It may not be as good as your fantastic blitz that takes forever to set up, but it'll be something where you can still get pressure even though they're quick hiking you or no huddling you, or just really just being a pest as far as getting the ball snapped very quickly before you can set up your defense. So whenever you're creating a scheme, kind of keep in mind you want to have at least a setup or two that's super fast, and that may end up being your main setup, but it may not. Sometimes it's different, so it just depends. Usually try to find the quickest setup that you can, but sometimes that's not possible, where your best blitz setup is going to take a couple more steps than you would like. And usually moving guys is the thing that takes the longest. So if you can kind of just shift, crash them, and maybe re-blitz a dude and not have to remove them, remove him to a different location on the field. It's going to probably be your best bet. Now, little moves like this don't take long, so if you only got to do one, it's not bad. But if you got to do another one, and then you got to move this guy, and then you got to move this guy here, it adds up very, very fast. So I wouldn't recommend moving more than two guys on any given play for a setup. I just really don't think you're going to have enough time to set it up, regardless of how fast you are with the, with your hands and setting up stuff. Just moving dudes just takes time. You have to go here, then you have to get back over there. And although that didn't take a lot of time there, if that's all you have to do, that's fine. But if you have to still, spread the line, crash them, re-blitz, things like that, like if you got to do all that, then those moving guys is going to take quite a bit of time and slow down your blitz setup. So try to find stuff that you can set up really quickly or as quick as possible. That way, the most important thing about a blitz is the coverage behind it. And the reason you want to have an extremely fast blitz setup is so that you can go, okay, 1, 2, 3. I set up my blitz. I'm good. Now I can set up my coverage. The running back's unguarded. So I'm going to go flat here, because your coverage is going to take time to set up. And the more adjustments you can make in your coverage, the better off you're going to be, because you can adjust to more so to what they're doing. So if it takes 7 seconds to hike the ball, you can set up your blitz in 3. You have 4 seconds to make your coverage different and unique. And, having a unique and different coverage is going to probably be the most important aspect of your defense and really what's going to separate you from other players. You guys can both run the exact same formation. You can run the same play. But if you have slightly different setups and it gets the same result and your setup takes 2 or 3 seconds less than his, there's going to be a lot more you can do. Likewise, if you guys are running the exact same setup and it takes the same amount of time, but your adjustment skills are better than his, you're going to be a lot better defensive player than him. So even if somebody knows what you're doing, they know the play, they even kind of know the setup. Yes, that does suck. They know what you're doing. They know the setup and whatever. But at the end of the day, the most important part of your defense is going to be the adjustments you make behind the blitzes. So whenever you buy an ebook or something like that, the guys are going to probably give you some solid blitzes that work pretty well, that get in either consistently or they get in fast or one or the other, or they come from exotic angle. Hopefully, if they did a good job, they'll leave you enough time to be able to make adjustments behind the play. If you get an ebook and it's got 20 setups and all 20 are setups where you're just barely getting that last setup done by the time they hike the ball, it's probably not the highest quality ebook. But, it is what it is. You just have to do what you got to do. But like I'm saying, you want to be able to have at least a few setups that are quick. And for the most part, try to make as many of your setups as short as possible. Another thing when you're making your setups is what can we do to make it shorter? There are any shortcuts we can take. For instance, if we have to re-blitz Williams, you could go over there, scroll over to Williams, re-blitz him, not a problem. But another thing you could do is just hot blitz him. Use R1 or RB, and then just the right stick to the left, the LOLB blitz, and Williams is re-blitzed. Likewise, if we need to re-blitz Davis, we can do the same thing. We're going to hot blitz and then right stick, and look at that. We got Davis blitz. Now, certain formations are going to get different guys blitzing, so, it's going to be the outside linebacker, but for this formation, you may have thought it's going to be this guy, but he's actually a safety. So this guy is the one that's actually going to get re-blitzed in the 4-6. And this is the middle linebacker. What if we need to re-blitz all of them? Obviously, you can just go right stick down. But sometimes, what if you want to put these 3 guys in hooks like that? Obviously going through the pain of putting them each in a hook zone, it's going to take quite a bit of time. Whereas if you just, put them all in zone all and then kind of double base align, you can get a nice little effect like that. So those types of things can be really nice. What's a really good instance of that? So a crazy play people think is just a crazy play anyway is the engage 8. Let's go ahead and run that real quick and kind of just show you what I'm talking about here. So we're sending 8. Obviously, we're going to get some pressure, but what if we only need the safety to blitz in and the rest of the guys can go into coverage? So you can put him in a flat, you can put him in a flat, put him in a hook. That's one method if you want like a straight cover three look. Um, Another thing you can do is kind of go with the cover three blitz look, which is a kind of like a fire zone three, or a lot of the blitzes you'll see that are 5-man rushes are gonna look something like this when it has a cover three look behind it. And you can do that. Now you've got that set up. You can pretty much just get the rest of the guys set up how you want, and kind of just cover whatever your opponent's trying to do. But just knowing those little shortcuts, shifting the line, shifting the linebackers, but mainly those hot blitzes and those types of things is going to be what's going to benefit you most. Also, another thing to mess with is maybe try shifting your line or shifting your linebackers a certain way. Maybe that will save you 2 or 3 steps. There's certain blitzes where if instead of re-blitzing this guy, re-blitzing him, spying him, hooking him, or deep zone him, hooking him, instead of doing all that, if you'd have just did something like shift the linebackers left, shift the lineman right, and re-blitz this guy, the blitz got in the exact same way. Those types of things are going to save you loads of time and actually just give you a lot more adjustment time to be better on the back end of it and be able to make your adjustments. So that's going to be crucial, is just learning all the shortcuts that you can. Show blitz, try showing blitz with your formation. What is it going to look like? After you show blitz, what's your formation going to look like? Is it going to be something that you possibly want to work with? Is it, something that you're not interested in? What about base aligning? What does base aligning do to your formation? And how does your formation look versus various formations when you're not base aligned? So those types of things are all going to factor in as far as how your defensive formation is going to look and those types of things and how fast you can set up. So, for instance, let's go with a nickel here, just a 2-man under. So if we go on the trips here, our nickel defender is going to be on the right side of the field because he's in a man defense. This is where he should be. However, if we base align, he automatically should go to the left side of the field, and our assignments have switched, but he should have went and moved over here. So let's reset this. So there we go. This is how it would look after you base align if they actually move the way they're supposed to, which is a standard nickel formation. So now we got this inside position on Manningham. So if they're running slants from Davis and Manningham, this will actually benefit us, whereas before we may have gotten beat. But more importantly than that, we know where our guy's going to be. So are you going to be running a scheme where you base align every play? And usually that's a good idea, but there are certain times you don't want to base align, especially against compressed sets, and we'll talk about that more in the future. But certain formations it's not good to base align against because you will be spread out and they will be very compressed and they'll just have the middle of the field to work with. There is adjustments you can make to counter that. For instance, let's go ahead and look at it now actually. Cover 3, something people like to do, they'll go ahead and run like an ace close here. And if you're running a baseline for your blitz and just kind of re-blitzing this guy or whatever, the middle of the field's kind of open. So instead what you could do is, instead of having the outside guys in deep blues, you could do something where maybe you put Williams in a deep blue and put him in a flat. Put the safety in a deep blue, put him in a flat. It's kind of just an option. Like, this is just a very generic example. But you can always do those types of adjustments to, if you still want to base align, or maybe you keep it the same, you just shade your coverage inside, or make little adjustments like that are gonna be the difference in getting your play set up and stuff like that. So that's gone on long enough though. I think we talked about a lot of the things I wanted to get to as far as setting up your plays, setting up your formations, and kind of the shortcuts and things you need to learn along the way. So we will continue in the next part and continuing to talk about this. Like I said, we could go on for quite a bit of time as far as setting up defenses and stuff. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Hopefully you guys are continuing to enjoy this. And that's going to do it. Till the next time, we gone.